That being said, let's get started. Good morning and welcome to our April Professional Learning Series session, Navigating Military Pathways. A quick overview of our agenda. This is what is going to guide our conversation today. We'll start with our welcome and introductions. We have two fabulous guest speakers for you today, as well as one of our subject matter experts. We're going to focus on military options after high school. Omar Cruz will share some information and resources about the Army ROTC, what the high school options look like, as well as the national scholarship process. And then Joshua is going to share with us his insight on Air Force and provide us with an overview and some examples of different career opportunities, and then and some specific entrance requirements. And then I'll talk about the bright ideas. Remember, these bright ideas are information that you shared with us when you registered for this webinar. So thank you for doing that. These are always so much fun to go through and read, and always full of great advice for your fellow colleagues. So we really appreciate that. And then Jamie's going to wrap us up with the Academy Spotlight and share with you all some modules so you can get even more resources to help you with military pathways for your students. And then, of course, as I said, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. So just a quick introduction of our team. I'm sure most of you are familiar with us. We're in April, so we've been here all year, some of us more years than that. We are the Professional Learning and Engagement team here at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. My name is Andrea Panter. I am the director. And I have the pleasure of working with Lauren Disher, our Senior Network Coordinator, and Jared Garza, our Network Marketing Coordinator, and our intern, Ariana Wells. We also have the newest member of our team joining us here today. Her name is Jasmine Piez. She is going to be our implementation coordinator. She just started with us yesterday, so she's just sitting back and enjoying the session. And as I mentioned, we have two fabulous guest speakers, so I'll let them introduce themselves. Omar, you can take the floor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name's Omar Cruz. I'm Mr. Cruz. I'm the Scholarship Enrollment Officer for the University of Texas Army ROTC program, but I'm going to talk about how all the ROTCs work. On my other side, I'm actually Major Cruz. I'm a combat advisor in artillery, so I'm still serving now. I'm actually still in the Texas Army National Guard. So I'm a product of ROTC, so I've been through the program itself, and then I continue to work for it. So yeah, and I'll discuss on how it works for any students that are interested in serving as well as going to college at the same time.
All right, and then I'm Sergeant Schlegel. I'm an accessions recruiter for the Air Force, and I've been in for 13 years on the enlisted side. And before this, I was a maintainer for aircraft and an instructor. And now I try to help kids figure out a path for their future.
Thank you. And then we also have our subject matter expert, our Academy subject matter expert.
Hey y'all, I'm Jamie. I'm program specialist, write the content and maintain the content within the Academy and other of our division resources. So I'm going to highlight some resources that could connect to today's topic.
Thank you all. And so we're going to kick us off with just a quick question. Jared's going to drop a poll. How familiar are you with military pathways? So do you feel like you're more of a beginner? You're here to learn a lot because maybe there's not much that you know. Maybe you feel intermediate, you feel comfortable talking with your students about it, but still want some more resources and information, or maybe you feel like you know a lot, but you can always learn more. So let's see where our poll takes us to our beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Jared, what are we looking like?
Yeah, so it looks like we have 53% are beginners,
Awesome.
40, actually it's 50% beginners, 47% are intermediate, and then 3% are advanced. So.
Nice. We got a nice mix here. Awesome. Well, maybe some of you advanced folks can share some ideas and resources in the chat as well for others. That would be great. All right, so we will go ahead and get started with Omar.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Like I said, I'm Omar Cruz, Mr. Cruz, Scholarship Enrollment Officer for the Army ROTC program. I have this slide up there because I can reference some of the other programs also because they all have ROTC programs. I work at specifically University of Texas Austin, and they're unique where they have all 4 branches. One that's not on there, which I probably should have put on there, is the Space Force. The Space Force even has an ROTC program as well. But I want to talk to you guys about how that works with people that are interested in serving as well as going continuing school and what kind of benefits you can get out of that. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So the unique thing about our ROTC program, they always have an active duty and then a reserve component, which I'll talk about that shortly. But people that are interested in going to college and then also want to serve afterwards, it's called the active duty route. And these are the basic requirements. As you see there, it's just being a U.S. citizen, at least 17 years old, good physical condition, good moral standing, and then obviously graduate high school to start at an ROTC program. And the good physical condition, will get you there. Some people are always concerned about that, but I like to let you know, like, everyone starts from somewhere and we're there to build you up. So some of the things that you kind of get when you're going active duty route, all the benefits that's listed there. So I'll talk about this later, the scholarship options, but what this active duty component adds afterwards is when you're done, you have all these other benefits that are available to you. When you finish college, you go on to active duty role, whether it be Air Force, the Navy, or Army, or even the Space Force. The benefits are the same across the board. So we all have the same benefits because we all fall under used to be the Department of Defense, now it's Department of War. Yeah, could we go to the next slide, please? So a unique thing about it is ROTC is that you can also directly commission into a reserve component. So usually that's like Air Force Reserves or Army Reserves or Army National Guard. I haven't seen done a lot of Air National Guard yet, but so this is a different route for people that want to serve as well as do something in their community. So usually these are for people that like, hey, I really want to do the military, but I also want to be a head coach, and you got to start off, as soon as you graduate, I got an internship, or I guess got a great job opportunity working from some agency. I get it a lot, guys that are engineers and they get this great job offer to be an engineer somewhere else, but they still want to serve. And what this does, it allows you to do both. The typical line of you work 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks out of the year as Lieutenant so-and-so, as a logistics officer, but on the civilian side, I work for some medical company, or I work for a software development company, and I also do cybersecurity for the National Guard or for the reserves. So that's an extra option that I don't think everyone's always familiar with. You can do ROTC in college, and then when you're done with college, you can have your civilian career plus a military career at the same time. The requirements are the same as active duty. Just be a U.S. citizen, 17 years of age and older, obviously graduate high school. And then the benefits are the same, but maybe a little bit more because you get other benefits that the National Guard could offer you or the Reserve could offer you. Everyone's a little bit different, but definitely look into that more to see how that applies to you. If we go to the next slide, please. All right, so here I'm going to talk about how ROTC is like, what it is in college, and the different benefits you get out of it while you're in college. Next slide, please. So what is it we're looking for in ROTC as a student coming into our program to become a cadet? Become a cadet. We call it SAL, basically a scholar, an athlete, and a leader. You can see there how everything merges together. A leader, as in, did you play a sport or have you done any kind of extracurriculars? Scholar, obviously, academically, can you handle the rigors of college? And then the athlete, how athletic are you? How well can you do a run, push-ups, sit-ups, things like that? Again, don't ever be timid about that, because we're here to help you guys improve. So not everyone starts off as a perfect PT score as a freshman, but hey, by the senior year, you're up there. So we have 4 years to work with you as long as you're working with us. Next slide, please. All right, so first question I always ask about scholarships. How does that work and what does that actually pay for? So scholarship pays full tuition and fees or housing in both, one or the other. The housing goes up to $10,000 per semester. Tuition and fees, it all depends on the school. And for the most part, it always pays the full tuition and fees. So just to give examples, University of Texas, typically about $5,500 per semester. Let's go to TCU, which is like I think it's like 30 or 60 grand per semester. The Army pays a full balance no matter what. So for some students, it's better to take the tuition and fees, or some students it's better to take the housing, and they have some other kind of scholarships that they'll stack on top of that. Fun fact, if you have multiple scholarships that you receive from something else, you can stack them on top of each other. So if you have a scholarship from the ROTC, and then you receive a scholarship for some other kind of like beneficiary grant, or you applied for something, hey, I'll give you $10,000 per semester, they stack on top of each other. Sorry, fun fact. Next thing is I'll also pay for books, $600 per semester. Every student in the program will get $600 to pay for books. I know there's no books anymore. It's all a download, but that's money that goes in their pocket. So that's like a fun fact for the students. And like, really? Yeah. And then also when you're in the part of the program, there's a stipend pay. You get paid $420 a month for being part of the program. Usually what I could tell people is like, when they're wearing the uniform, sometimes you wear it 2 to 3 days out of the week, and then you have field exercises while you're in college. We're paying you for that. So thanks. Also, the things you can do, we offer different schools in the summer, airborne school, air assault school, northern warfare school, and we'll pay for all that. And we send you to those schools. You get the training. It's like 2 to 3 weeks. And Navy does the same thing as well as the Air Force. So they all have different opportunities for you in the summer while you're in college. Next slide, please. So here are the different types of scholarships. So you'll hear a lot of different information about, they've got 4-year scholarships, they've got 3-year scholarships, they have 2-year scholarships, they have some that are specific for nurses. And I know this applies to all the other branches as well, because I work with them just the same. I'll see them get offered 2-year scholarships for students that are in the program and just join later. Or I'd see there, if the military is really looking for nurses, they offer a lot more nursing scholarships. And currently in my program, I have about 5 nurses in my program, and they're all on a specific nurse scholarship. And that's a different kind of fee that they pay. They have different charges they receive for being a nursing student, but it's okay because positive, all the branches pay the full balance on that as well too. Yeah, next slide. So first question is, hey, where do I go to apply for this scholarship for those students that are in high school, either a junior about to become a senior or in a senior year? And you'd go to right there, the website, goarmy.com/ROTC, look up that spot, that website, and you'll see there, create an account. I didn't give you any further slides on that because I did download this or took a snippet of it just recently. But the board is closed, but this goes for next year. So any junior now, they could start in the summer, they can go here, create an account, follow the steps. And there are 3 different boards. I couldn't quite get all 3 of them on there, but as you can see, there's always one in October, there's one in January, and there's one in March. Yeah, and I'll go into more details about that. Next slide, please. So I always asked about, I know I represent the University of Texas Austin, but this also works for any school across the nation. I believe there's 238 schools that the ROTCs always support. And there's always if not, there's an affiliate school that they will work with to get you there. So don't ever feel like you have to go to a certain school to receive a scholarship. No, it applies to all of them. Next slide, please. So how does the process work right off the bat? So this is kind of like a little flow chart of how this works. Obviously, you sign up for the account, you start loading in your data, what your GPA is, what your SAT scores are, any other extra activities, and then you start picking about what kind of major would you like to do in college. Anything from liberal arts to exercise science to nursing, or want to go to medical school, things like that. And then you take a CBEF, which is really a survey, and then a performance fitness assessment, which is a 1-minute push-up, 1-minute sit-up, and a 1-minute, a 1 mile run. So 1-minute sit-up, 1-minute push-ups, and a 1 mile run. Upload your documents, and then you'll do an interview with a department chair. We call it professor of military science at a university, and it could be at any university. So don't feel like you have to go to the school that you want to go to. So I always have to break that stigma, like, hey, I want to go to University of Florida, but I live in Austin, I live in San Antonio. Do I have to travel out there? I said, no. Find any university in your local area, and you can do an interview there. They'll interview there. And then next steps after that, the boards come up. There's cutoff dates. Yeah, can we go next slide, please? So I always ask about, like, so what does it take to be to get offered a scholarship? And this is a breakdown of how everything plays out. Big part comes from your interview, your scores, your SAT scores, your GPA, and what else you did outside of school. So a tip I always give everyone, like, your interview can make or break you. This is the part where you need to explain what's important to you, why you want to be here, why you want to serve, what leadership characteristics is important to you, and why you want to join the Army ROTC program. Yeah, next slide. All right, so as I said, there's 3 different boards that happen in October, January, and March. And what I always give the best advice is about be sure you sign up for the earliest board, because let's just say 1,000 people apply for in October. What happens is they will offer the first 200. I'm just using smaller numbers to make it simple. The first 200 people and the highest ranking scores get a scholarship. If you don't make the October board, you automatically roll over into the January board. So that first 200 comes off, and then you kind of move up the scale. And if you don't make that January board, well, then you roll over automatically to the March board. So if you don't make the January cut, you roll up. So I always recommend apply for the scholarship as soon as possible. Make sure your name's in the pool right away. And if you need to change something, you absolutely can. Like, let's just say you take the SAT score in October, and then you do it again in January, and your scores improve. Well, you can go back and update it, and that just moves you up the rank. So I always recommend sign up for the scholarship as soon as possible. You can always update things later. Next slide. So kind of what I described here, these are different types of scholarships you could have. They go from 3 years to 4 years to 3-year scholarships. There's different other kind of scholarships, which you get into more details later on. Definitely talk to your university about each one of these kinds, because some of them apply to some schools, but not to others. Yeah, next slide. Again, I go back to how the process looks, the flow chart behind it. And I really want to discuss is whenever you receive a scholarship offer, as in one of those boards, you're selected and you receive a 3-year or a 4-year scholarship, what that actually looks like. You could check online in the portal, but we actually send you a package. Go to the next slide. And that's what it looks like. You'll see there you've been offered a scholarship for whichever school. You'll have, when you're going through the process, you pick your top 6 schools you want to go to, and they'll give you usually like 3 to 6 options. Like, hey, we want to offer you a scholarship. Choose a school you want to go to. You'll circle that and you'll update it in the portal, or if you want to, you can mail it back. But it's still a cool little piece of paper to have, like, hey, I got offered a scholarship. But that's what it looks like. Next slide. So this is something about campus-based scholarships that I don't think a lot of people always know about. They always see the ROTC scholarship, the national board. But I always tell people, if you don't receive the national scholarship, don't be discouraged at all. Come to campus, sign up for the class. We have scholarships we offer on campus, and they're usually 3 to 2 years. 3 to 2 year scholarships. So even if you don't get it right off the bat, and you're in college, you're in the class, you're already winning, man. Just stick with the program. Show us how much you want to be here, and we're happy to help you. The basic requirements still the same. Obviously, over 17, have at least a 2.5 GPA. You pass your Army fitness test. The Dahmer physical is a medical exam that you go through while you're in the program. We'll help you through that process later too. And of course, obviously, accept a commission to serve in the Army or the military. Next slide, please. Another big question I always get is, what's the commitment? When you're joining ROTC, there actually is no commitment. Like, I have to remind people that joining ROTC is still a class and an elective. You sign up for the class, you try it out. If you like it, great. See how I make everything better for you. Let's talk about scholarship. Let's talk about stipend pay. If you don't like it, I always tell them, hey, thanks for giving it a shot. Best of luck seeing everything you do. And they just move on. And that's great. So that's what I always thinks. Everyone thinks you sign up for ROTC as a class. Like, I'm signing up for the Army. It's like, no, you're not. Trust me, when you sign up for the military, you're gonna know. There's a long list of documents we go through. There's a whole lot of stuff you got to go through. You will know. So don't ever feel discouraged because I signed up for the class. I signed up for the military. It's not true. Next slide, please. So here's where I reach out to you guys. I usually want to talk to counselors or administration. Here's how you can help. Just understand the process. As I discussed the timelines, there's for any academic junior about to be a senior in the summers when it opens up again to where they can start applying. Seniors can do it too. So there's a board in October, board in, like I said, January, and in March. So get their package in as early as possible. And then interview preparation, man, that one's always interesting. It's fun watching them come in. I understand they're nervous, but presence makes a big difference and a big impact. We're always looking for leadership abilities and potential. So we don't ever expect you to be 100% on it, but if you put your best foot forward, we notice it. So that's something we'd help out. Be in uniform. You don't have to be in uniform. We get a couple people to show up in ROTC uniforms. That's great. Become business casual or just a business suit. It's an interview. So if you guys could help them out and make them understand, like, hey guys, this is your best shot. This could be 4 years paid for. So give it a shot. Put on your best for that. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. I'm not always sitting at my desk. The cell phone, man, I get a lot of spam mail. I don't always pick that up as much, or the spam phone calls. But definitely email is the best way to get a hold of me. And if you have any questions, I know I'm speaking specifically for University of Texas Austin, but I do work with everyone across the nation. And if you have another student that wants to go to another school, I could point you in contact with me at that university and help you out with that process. Thanks.
Thank you, Omar. And we'll be sending his contact information in our follow-up email too. And I just saw in the chat that somebody asked about the recording. Yes, this will be shared afterwards as well as our resource document with everybody's contact information and all the things that we talked about today. So we've got a quick pop quiz for you all. So true or false? We've got 2 questions here. We're going to start with the first one. The military obligation after commissioning is 8 years. Is this true or false? And Jared, you can let us know how we're doing.
All right. It's kind of almost 50-50, but it looks like 55% are saying true and 45% are saying false.
All right, well, the answer is true. Let's go to the next one. Individuals must commit to the specific program they selected during their first year.
So far, we have 79% that are saying it's false and 21% saying that it's true.
Yes. Well, let's go with that 70% of false. Good job, guys. All right, so Joshua, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Again, Sergeant Schlegel. Today, I just want to talk about the United States Air Force, entering on that enlisted side, and realistically, the opportunities, the future stability, and the clear path for the students. Slide. The purpose of my presentation today is just to show how the Air Force provides career development, education, stability, and this really is about building a future and not just serving. I have tons of people that come into my office that are looking for a clear path after high school, and some they'll come with their mid-20s or even 30s at this point, wishing that they would have looked into the military when they got done with high school. So, next slide. Why students should consider the military? Rising college costs. Obviously, if you can get a scholarship, that's awesome, but not everybody does. The lack of direction, personal growth, and structure. Desire for structure, get lots of that. The job security, financial stability, job training, and travel and adventure. I tried to go to college right after high school, and I was going full time, and I didn't get any scholarships. And not only was I going full time, I was working full time, and it just became very difficult to do. So I stopped going to college after the first year and then started working full time. Now I'm working towards my bachelor's, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without the military. Lack of direction. Lots of people have issues with this because they get out of high school and they don't know where to go and what to do. So they end up just working and getting comfortable at checking out people at HEB or something like that, and not having a career that they can look forward to. The job security, we all know that it's difficult to find good paying jobs right now. And again, with that financial stability, people are getting trained to do their job very well right now and being paid full time. It's a great opportunity for them. And then the travel and adventure, When I joined, I was from a small town in Nebraska. I'd never been on a plane before. First time getting on a plane was going to basic military training. And now I've been all over the world, South Korea, Italy, several different states. And I wouldn't have been able to do that or see any of that and enjoy the cultures that I was exposed to without joining the military. Next slide. So why the Air Force stands out? Quality of life. It gets talked about all the time about the quality of life for the Air Force being better than the other branches. I figure that the reason for that is because the majority of the time we are showing up to a base and then we're doing the job at the base and then we stay right there on the base. We spend a lot of time there. We're not going out into the field and intense things like that. And realistically, when you join the Air Force, your job is to go do your job and then come back. You're going to be a professional at fixing an aircraft or working in a medical field, things like that. It's always going to be a career first approach where if you get hired, you get a job in the Air Force, that is what your job is going to be throughout that time frame. And then the education benefits, I'm going to go over that a little bit later, but that is going to be kind of the same across the board for all the branches. Technological focus is going to be really big in the Air Force because we're always trying to stay on that front edge of technology, and work-life balance is really good. I have always been able to go do my job and then come home and see my kids afterwards. Next slide. All right, and then the career opportunities, we have a lot of different career opportunities. A lot are in cyber and IT, the medical and healthcare field, aviation, intelligence, engineering, science, technology, maintenance and logistics, the special warfare, and then that law and order being the security forces. With that, cyber and IT, obviously lots of people are looking into that and hoping for a really good transferability, but all of our jobs transfer really well. Again, same with that medical and healthcare. The aviation side is really big. That's why that's our whole purpose in the Air Force, is to provide aircraft. So that's the majority of what we hire for, which really ties into that engineering, science, and technology with that maintenance and logistics. The big one that people don't know about is the special warfare. We have a lot of those jobs there. When people come in and they do the special warfare, they get picked up for it. They're going to be integrated into like the Army Rangers, the Navy SEALs. So the pararescuemen that we have, they're the ones that go in, they're going to save somebody's life, kind of like a triage, get them onto a helicopter, get them out of there and get them to a hospital. They also do search and rescue. When I was at Nellis in Las Vegas, people would get lost hiking or at the lake, and the rescue unit would go out there and assist in finding the people and getting them home safe. The people in that special warfare were really big too, as far as saving the pilots in Iran. The pilots were obviously, doing their part as far as staying alive and not getting detected and waiting for us to be able to go in there and save them. But it was our special warfare that really set that up. Our combat controllers will go in, set up airfields, and then our tactical air control party, they're the ones that call in the airstrikes or the aircraft coming in. So they end up getting air traffic control certified. And when they get done, they can go work at an air traffic control tower. And then with the security forces, that's another big one. We always need military police. It's obviously highly transferable. And if they want to see the world, it's a massive career field and we need them at every base. So there's lots of opportunities for people to go out and see different locations and live in different locations. Next slide. All right, and then the education benefits. The tuition assistance is going to be the same across the board for all the branches. You're going to get $4,500 a year to go to school. If you don't use it, then you will lose it. And then the post 9/11 GI Bill, that's something that they can use afterwards. And if they don't end up using it, they can transfer it. So for me, I've been in for 13 years and I've transferred mine to my 3 kids. So it won't be enough for them to each get a full degree, but we all know that at least 1 year of college is enough for somebody to decide whether or not they're actually going to continue going. So that'll definitely help them get a start. And then our CCAF degree is our Community College of the Air Force degree. Every single career field that we have has this. There's an associate's degree that goes along with it. So by the time they get done with basic military training, their tech school afterwards, and then their upgrade training, all they have to do is their general education. So they get that done, and then they will get awarded their associate's degree. This is regionally accredited by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges through the Air University. And it's a really good program. So I already have my associate's degree, and that's why I'm working on my bachelor's. Once you get your associates in your career field, you can get your bachelor's in whatever you want. And then we have certifications. So we have the Air Force COOL program, COOL. And what that is the Air Force will pay $4,500 in total for a certification or several certifications, as long as they don't exceed that $4,500 combined. So really cool options for the education benefits. Air Force versus the other branches, we already kind of talked about the higher quality of life. The technical careers, our careers are really big on you're going to go in and do that job. So I was an aircraft mechanic. I did that every day, all day. And that's why we can provide the associate's degree that goes along with it, because that is what we do 100% day in, day out. And then every type of career within the Air Force as well. So like special duties, I was an instructor for 4 years. There's an associate's degree that goes along with that. And then me being a recruiter has a human resources degree that also goes along with that. We have really predictable deployments and typically shorter deployments. Ours are anywhere between 4 and 6 months on average. Kind of depends on the mission and the unit. And then we have really high retention rates, which also falls into why it's sometimes difficult to get into the Air Force. And then the education and career focus is really big. It's pushed on everybody that they need to further their education and be really good at their job, because if they're good at their job, then they're good at being able to take care of the people around them. And then it just makes the environment much better. And then who's a good fit? Basically motivated but unsure students. So, students that want to do something when they get done, but they don't know what they want to do. And tech interested. There's lots of kids these days that are looking for the technology side of things. And so why not go into the Air Force? We have the 4 or 6 year contracts, and they can come in and they can either do that and go on with life and take the benefits with them, or they can stay in. I signed up for 4 years when I originally signed up, and I was sure I was getting out all the way to the end, and found a reason to stay, and it's been amazing. I mean, the health benefits alone is huge. I have 3 kids, and I've never had to pay anything for health. One of my daughters had ear surgery, and I haven't had to pay a dime. And I don't even know if regular insurance would have covered all of that surgery. She had to get prosthetic hearing bones put in to help her be able to hear without a hearing aid. And all of it has been covered. And then obviously students that need structure, and then not college ready financially. So the big one there is, how are you going to pay for it? College is expensive. And these student debts, I mean, I get people in all the time in their late 20s that went and got their degree. They have tons of debt, and they don't have a job that sustains that, or even in the field that they got their degree in. Next slide. So now we're going to go into the recruitment process. So the first step is going to be meet with a recruiter. If any of you have issues finding an Air Force recruiter, if you go to airforce.com, down at the bottom, find a recruiter, put in the zip code and that you're looking for the active duty or officer. There's several different sections there: reserve, guard, it will give the contact information for the recruiter that's responsible for that area. And then they will need to take the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude and Battery, or ASVAB test. Obviously, this is provided at some schools, and if it isn't, or a student missed it, they can take this. They just have to talk with a recruiter first. And then the medical examination at the Military Entrance Processing Station, or MEPS. This one can be a little bit difficult. I'm going to get into each one of these. And then after they get done with that, the job selection, the delayed entry program, or the DIP, and then basic training. Next slide. So the ASVAB determines job eligibility, matches strengths to careers, and measures aptitude and ability. This is the first step as far as seeing what a person qualifies for. If they first need to take that ASVAB before we can talk jobs or anything like that, but they also need to get through that military interest processing station. So once they have this, they get the scores, then we can kind of talk as far as what their interests are and how well they tested in each of the sections. Next slide. All right, and then MEPS, the Military Interest Processing Station. The medical and background screening is very difficult these days for people to get through, because everything goes through MHS Genesis, and that's where all of the providers are linked together now in a system. So when somebody goes to the doctor, then it will go into this system, and then it will show the Military Interest Processing Station that they've been to the doctor for something. They won't really be able to see the details, but they might see something as far as the year and fractured an elbow, but they won't be able to see that it healed or anything like that. So there's lots of things that could stop somebody medically from being able to join, and the Air Force is typically a little bit more strict on these versus the other branches. And that also comes into the reason why we have those high retention rates, because people typically, when they join, end up staying in. So these medical standards kind of fluctuate sometimes as far as medications, anxiety medication, antidepressants, and ADD or ADHD medication can all be affected by this. And those qualifications do change over time sometimes as far as how long somebody has to be off of the medication. So it's good to talk to a recruiter sooner than later so that they understand what the requirement is for them to try to join. When they get through this Military Interest Processing Station exam, this ensures their qualification, and then they swear into our delayed entry program. Once they're into that delayed entry program, this is where they're going to prep for shipping off for a job or waiting for a job. And then they'll work with a recruiter. They have to meet once a month. And then, excuse me. And then there's going to be mentorship throughout it. So if they have questions or need guidance, then the recruiters can help them with that. And then the physical readiness. Everyone kind of does their delayed entry program differently. For me, I do a workout with them. And this way they can kind of understand what's going to be required of them when they go to basic and what they may need to work on, so that when they go to basic military training, it'll be easier for them and they will be more successful. Next slide. As of right now, for basic military training, or BMT, it's 7.5 weeks. Once they get done with that, they will go straight on to their technical training. This is anywhere from 2 to 3 months, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on the career field. And then after that, they'll go to their first duty station. They'll get their career qualification, and then they go into their upgrade training. For the roles of the counselors, identify the students. They can start the process as early as 17 years old. They have to have consent from both parents, and they can start the process their junior year. This is pretty important as far as their junior year, because we have our ambassador program. So unless things change in the future, it starts in April of their junior year and then goes till September of their senior year. But this allows them, once they get through that military interest processing station into the delayed entry program, they get to select less jobs than somebody who's outside of that area. So it gives them a little bit better, outside of that time frame, it gives them a little bit better choice in jobs. Otherwise, everyone else has to select 10 jobs. They're down to 5. So identify those students that are 17 and then or 18, and then encourage exploration, obviously looking into the different career fields. everybody that I talked to, I asked, did you talk to another branch? And if they haven't, I encourage them to go do so. Why not be as informed on that decision as possible? And then obviously connecting with a recruiter. And this is crucial because if you're reluctant to give them the information or tell them about the recruiter that's in charge of their area, and they don't talk to them, they may not know about these different benefits or some of those requirements, such as being off of the ADD, ADHD medication for a specific amount of time, which could then delay them being able to get in later. And then next slide. And then for the closing, realistically, like I said, I just want them to have a clear path, real skills, and a strong future. So for me, I have my 3 kids. I'm going to encourage them to look into the military. I certainly hope that they consider it. And if they do, awesome. If they don't, then hopefully they can find a good career afterwards. But I truly do believe that being in the military has definitely given me a great life as of right now and afterwards. All right, that is it.
Thank you, Joshua and Omar. That was a lot of great information. And as I mentioned, we're, as we follow up with all of some of their slides as well as their contact information, you guys will be receiving that too if you have additional questions. And we will get to Q&A here in a few, but we're going to take just a quick minute to talk about some of your bright ideas. So these are your ideas that you provide to us when you register. We comb through your responses and pull out just some common themes that we find, as well as ideas, and then we share them during our webinars. We really enjoy looking at everyone's responses, and we share these with our teams throughout as well. And we use your responses to help us build these webinars in real time to make sure that we're tailoring them to your needs. So one of the questions that we asked was, what tools or resources have you found most helpful when advising students interested in enlistment, ROTC, or military academies? So, educators, you all shared with us how important it is to rely on the military recruiters for information and support, whether that's in the form of classroom presentations, lunch visits, career fairs, or just having those one-on-one conversations and being able to answer some of those difficult or possibly confusing questions for them. But then also just guiding them to do some of their own independent research, which is also helpful as well. And as Joshua said, looking out to different branches if they haven't done that already. And then frequent ASVAB testing, which is widely offered in high schools and military support centers. And of course, a use of all of the different resources and materials. The resources are out there for our students. We just need to connect the students and encourage them to find those resources, utilize those resources, and to take the ASVAB and use that data-driven insight that it provides to help them determine what they're good at and how that translates into real career options for them. And then military websites or personal relationships, learning about opportunities on military websites or from personal connections to military personnel, just to help the students gain a more holistic understanding by combining that official information that we're providing them with maybe some of their real life experiences. So thank you so much for those bright ideas. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Jamie now, and she's going to share some academies, our academy spotlight, and some different modules in there that you guys can find some additional resources. And as we're going, please continue to put some questions in the Q&A, and we'll get to those in just a few.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short and highlight, we have our military pathways module, and I'm going to highlight some of the resources that we have within. The military pathways module explains military enlistment process, entry requirement, enlistment, contract, types of services, service obligations. It also describes the military career path and training opportunities, explains eligibility, documentation, application, follow-up requirements for applying to the military academies, and describes best practices, common errors for advising students on military pathways. So a little bit more details and expounding on what our guest speaker said today so wonderfully. So next. So the first one I want to highlight is we have, you can download this military service branches infographic to learn more about full-time and part-time opportunities in each branch of military. Use it in your advising conversations, share with families, and help them explore, like Andrea said, connect students with resources is the most important thing in getting them to make a choice down which pathway they want to go down. And we did not bold Air Force or show any sort of bias in which branch was our favorite. It says all of them, but all the details are there. So next one. And then again, we have an infographic chart about the military training academies. That is one of the resources. Next. Another great resource is a quick scannable, downloadable infographic about the ASVAB and the subtest that you can share with students to prep them for it. And next. Probably my favorite. I was a classroom teacher, so I love a worksheet format. We have our military and civilian career connections worksheet. It includes downloadable, it's a downloadable worksheet to guide students through determining whether a military path aligns with their goals for what they want to do in their career. And as we've heard today, there are a lot of opportunities to align military and civilian career services. So, and finally, let's say a student has selected, you want to be able to help a military path, and you want to help students who are already in the military space as a child of a military connected person. We have a module supporting military connected families module. In this module, you'll learn about the challenges of military connected students and effective advising strategies to help them meet both basic and educational needs. As a reminder, also, the academies are on a constant, sorry, I wasn't meaning to go back and forth, a constant live course update. So we're constantly updating information as we come across it. So you know you're getting the most up-to-date information that we have. So next. And I'm going to pass it over to Jared now.
Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, so just to kind of piggyback on the Academy itself, we did launch a new community around the Texas On-Course Academy, which is the Academy Learning Community. This is a great way for every educator in the state of Texas to connect with educators all across the state and share best practices, network, gain early access to Academy updates and resources. It's a great way to network amongst with one another. I did see a few members in the chat as well earlier, so thank you all for joining that as well. But if you do scan that QR code, you will gain access to like an interest form, and then you'll sign up through there, and then you should get a confirmation email through like the Canvas platform, which is what the Academy is conducted through, and it'll ask you to join like the Academy Learning Community course. So. And then we only have 2 more professional learning series sessions left for this school year. Just to highlight our Tiny Take, which is next week, which will be guiding students integrating the Texas On-Course College and career readiness curriculum into your planning. Our very own Jamie Bell will be there as well. She'll be presenting on the new implementation guide for the Texas On-Course College and career readiness curriculum. So you definitely don't want to miss that. It'll be on April 23rd at 10 a.m. And then on May 12th, we'll be celebrating My Texas Future Schools. So we'll be celebrating schools that participated in the My Texas Future Recognition Program. We'll be celebrating them and their achievements with that program and sharing out on My Texas Future. And we'll also be announcing our My Texas Future Schools of Excellence during that session as well. And then stay informed with the Texas On-Course Network newsletter. I am your author for Texas On-Course Network newsletter. It's your monthly toolkit for college and career success. The next iteration of this newsletter will be on May 7th. And so we will be covering mainly resources from My Texas Future itself, while also celebrating our My Texas Future Recognition Program schools and our My Texas Future Schools of Excellence as well through this newsletter. Definitely, you don't want to miss it. So. And then for all the resources that we provided in our session, you can scan this QR code here. It'll take you to our resource document. And if you're unable to scan it, we'll also send this resource document in our follow-up email that'll be sent out here in the coming days. So. Then also we have a brief survey here just to let us know how we're doing. It's greatly appreciated. We definitely want to continue improving these sessions for you all. And then I believe now we'll have time for Q&A.
Yes, thank you, Jared. And I'm trying to put some of those links in the chat. I can finish them up in a minute. But yes, thank you all so much for joining us today. And we love your feedback. It really helps as we are continuing to grow these sessions and be able to give you all the information that is most relevant for you all. So let me take a quick look at the Q&A. Okay, so Suzanne asked earlier, Omar, I think this one's for you. What is CULP, C-U-L-P?
Good question. Sorry, I didn't address that one. Cultural Understanding Language Program. So what happens is we send students to multiple countries to work with their militaries to help either build up their military or build up their local population. So that's what they call the Cultural Understanding Language Program. There's about 37 different countries we work with, Chile to Brazil to Japan, South Korea, Germany, pretty much anywhere you have a military installation, it's plausible for our students to go to those places. Now, those happen over the summer. And a fun fact is that everything's paid for. So you never pay that, you don't have to pay for that. And then while you're there, you even get paid while you're there. Yeah.
All right, and next question is, are there any options to learn to fly in the Army?
So the Army does have an aviation course, not quite the same as the Air Force. If you really want to fly, I know the Air Force has a dedicated flight system or a flight path. For the Army side, it's something you have to compete for. Obviously, we primarily have a lot of rotary aircraft, and there's a few fixed-wing aircraft. But definitely, if you want to fly, any one of the branches have a good opportunities for you. I know the Navy does it too. They have a flight program too, just the same. So, but flying while you're in ROTC, on our side, that's not really an option. That's once you commission, you're selected to go to aviation route, and that's where they start that process.
And then our last question is from Suzanne. I don't, if you can clarify a little bit more on this. She said, I haven't heard any mention of the Texas Military Forces options. But can you elaborate more on that, Suzanne?
Yeah, here's what you mean by that.
We can always follow up with that question later. You can message me and we can figure that out.
Is she referencing like the National Guard aspect of it?
I'm not sure.
I'm assuming. Well, if she is, Texas National Guard is a reserve component that you can go into. So for the state of Texas, it actually just applies to every state because every state has a reserve, a National Guard. So usually Texas Military Forces is always referred to as the National Guard side of the house. And so New Mexico would have one, Oklahoma has one. So what it is that you can do ROTC and then you can directly commission into one of those components or into the component of the Texas National Guard. So that's the Texas Military Forces right there.
Yeah, that's what she's referring to as Texas specific. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. And as I mentioned, you are going to get a follow-up email with this recording as well as our resource doc, which is, I did drop the link in the chat, but we're also going to send that out to you in the follow-up as well. And if you haven't had a chance to complete the survey, please do that so we can make sure that we are continuing to meet your needs. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you next time.